Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Dan Tony Sports. My name is Dan Snyder. Tonight, we're going to do another Minisode because the weather is horrible. It's snowing. It is snowing. It is snowing. Unfortunately, I'm a little out of breath right now. Just got inside from shoveling. Whoo-wee. That's tough. But, I'm going to have a quick little rundown of some sirens. I don't know if you can hear the sirens, but there's some sirens going on here in the capital region of Albany. Capital region of New York, excuse me. This weekend was the first weekend without NFL football since September, which means it was time for the Alliance of American Football to kick off its season, which is kind of a little ironic because they don't actually kick off to start football games. But from what I saw, I watched 3 of the 4 games because CBS decided to show 2 of the games at the same time. I was only able to watch 1 of the games that night, but I saw the San Diego Fleet and the San Antonio Commanders on Saturday night. And on Sunday, I watched the Birmingham Iron and the Memphis Express, And the late game was the Arizona Hot Shots. And they took on the Salt Lake Stallions. The game that we didn't watch because of CBS was the Orlando Apollos and the Atlanta Legends. And first weekend, good. I enjoyed it. Christine enjoyed watching it. Pretty much all of the feedback that I heard was positive about the games. It feels like real football. It looks like real football. And I mean, obviously, this isn't the same level of talent that you would see in the NFL. I mean, Christian Hackenberg is one of the starting quarterbacks, so that right there tells you all you need to know. But I thoroughly enjoyed what I did watch. So I encourage you, if you didn't watch it the first week, watch it this week because it's going to be fun. Just run down what happened. San Antonio Commanders beat the Fleet. Orlando Apollos absolutely demolished the Atlanta Legends. The Birmingham Iron beat the Memphis Express, and the Arizona Hot Shots beat the Salt Lake Stallions. I chose, when the league was first announced and the teams were named, I chose the Arizona Hot Shots as my team. Dan O'Shea chose the Salt Lake Stallions as his team. Dan Beebe chose the San Diego Fleet, and Tony chose the Memphis Express. Christine was on the fence. She liked the colors of the Stallions, but she ended up going with the Birmingham Iron because she just likes the simplicity of the name. So you don't have much to go on. You don't have a diehard fan base that have been fans for 20 years. I've been a Cowboys fan since the mid-90s when I was like 4. So you don't have a legacy of fandom for those teams yet, but it's fun that we get to be on the ground floor for this league that is actually taking off and hopefully can stick around for quite a while. Its predecessors, the United Football League, the USFL, they didn't fare so well. The XFL didn't do well. The XFL was more of a show than it was football. But that's coming back in 2020. There's also going to be something called the Pacific Football League, which is something that I am extremely intrigued with because they are marketing themselves as an alternative to college, which is very interesting proposition. So, would this league get players away from colleges? I don't know that they would, because there is prestige to saying, I won a national championship with Alabama. I played college football at the University of Michigan. I was an Ohio State All-American. There are people who will be looking for the prestige of playing at those colleges. There will also, on the other hand, be people who are mostly interested in playing in the Pacific League, which I wouldn't blame them. It's being founded by Ricky Williams, which is really cool. But because they're marketing themselves as the alternative to college, where you can pay, or get paid, to play immediately, as opposed to going to college for at least 3 years, where you're playing for the scholarship. So, definitely interesting to see how that's going to fare. The XFL is also going to be an interesting concept this time around, because it's not going to be a Vince McMahon wrestling creation. They're marketing it as a legitimate football league. If you follow them on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they are asking the audience, what do you want to see? How can we be a good product? And that, I think, is important, because if you want to attract a fan base, you have to engage fans before you have a product. All right? Just like a lot of products you see, like GoFundMe's for and stuff like that, you have the proof of concept, people pay for it before they get it, and this is what you're getting with the XFL. The thing that brings the legitimacy to the XFL this time that they didn't have last time, excuse me, is the commissioner of the league, or president, whatever, I don't know what position exactly he has, is Oliver Luck, Andrew Luck's dad. So that is something that is extremely interesting to me, that they're bringing in a real football guy who has a football lineage, a football heritage, to run the football operations. So that means in 2020, we will have the NFL, the Alliance of American Football, we will have the Pacific League, we will have the XFL, not to mention, there's also the Arena League, if you like high-scoring games. A lot of areas have semi-pro football. So if you want to just immerse yourself in football pretty much nonstop, 2020 is going to be the year of your dreams. And I can totally get behind that. So, completely excited for all of football. Oh, I forgot to mention college football, of course. But I am completely excited for the future of football. The AAF is doing things that the NFL needs to adopt. They want to be a feeder league for, I didn't say theater, it sounds like I might have said that, a feeder league for the NFL. Basically, the way the farm system is working in baseball. If a player needs time to develop, send him down there, they'll develop, call him back up. I think that that is very interesting. I think that that is the direction that the AAF needs to go, because anytime they piss off the NFL will squash them like a bug. So you don't necessarily need to be on their good side, but just avoid the NFL's bad side, because you don't want to be a casualty at the hands of Roger Goodell. All right, so that's it for football. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. This Saturday, if you're a college sports fan, UAlbany in the Carrier Dome taking on Syracuse lacrosse. That's something that I'm excited for. No Connor Fields. The Rays are gone. And of course, TD Ierlan left UAlbany to go to Yale, which I'm still bitter about. But it should be a bright future. I'm excited. Tehoka Nanticoke is one of the most exciting. Now he's a sophomore. He was a freshman. I'm excited. I can't wait to watch. Lacrosse. Not just UAlbany, all of lacrosse. Yale looks to defend their national championship. Utah, Pac-12 team, joins the NCAA lacrosse ranks. Obviously not ranked, but they are fielding a team now. Their first game, they played against Vermont, and Vermont absolutely crushed them. Demolished. Not even close. But what do you expect for a school that has never played a varsity lacrosse game? So, big things coming for the sport of lacrosse. Lacrosse is still one of the fastest growing sports in the country, and it will continue to be for the foreseeable future. Now we just need to see more SEC teams, more Pac-12 teams, big schools like Michigan getting involved in lacrosse, really making a name for themselves. Excuse me. So that's fun. Obviously, season's just starting, so we'll obviously report more on that as we get further into the season. A little bit of baseball news. Still, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper do not have homes. They are still free agents, and the longer this free agency goes the longer that these players are free agents, I think it is bad for the rest of Major League Baseball. Because if these guys, who are immense talents, Machado and Harper, aren't getting the offers that they're looking for, then future players who are looking for big offers aren't going to be getting what we've seen in the past with talents like Robinson Cano with his massive contract, A-Rod with 2 massive contracts. So it doesn't look like the future of baseball is going to be a player getting $1 billion contract like we once thought it might get to. It's going to be interesting to see where they go. It's going to be interesting to see if, these smaller market teams, not smaller market necessarily, but teams that I wouldn't think Bryce Harper and Manny Machado would go to, really make a real push. Sounds like the Giants might be the favorite to land Bryce Harper now. So definitely keep an eye out on that. Pitchers and catchers have already started reporting. But baseball is baseball. I'm not a huge fan of baseball. So we're going to move on. I am a big fan of basketball. I'm not a big fan of the product the Knicks are putting out. Knicks last night lose again, 17th straight game, lose by 3 to the Cavaliers, who are one of the worst teams in the NBA, which is frustrating because I get you want to have that number 1 overall draft pick, but losing or being the worst team in the NBA doesn't give you better odds anymore of getting that number 1 draft pick. Now, the way they've restructured it is 1, 2, and 3, the 3 worst teams, all have the same odds of getting the number 1 pick. And I just have a feeling the Knicks could have the worst record in the NBA, and they're still going to end up getting like the 5th or 6th pick. Because that's just what happens with the Knicks. So, again, defeat last night. I really am liking what I'm seeing from Mitchell Robinson. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kevin Knox. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Alonzo Trier. I feel like those are 3 really good pieces that if players like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, or Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson, or if the Knicks can somehow get Anthony Davis and bring